Hello everyone, this is Joker and welcome to my Formula 1 World Championship Azerbeidzjan Grand Prix review. This is, I'm still flabbergasted about this race. I am kind of lost for words how this race went, to be honestly. I mean, let's start with the training. I have seen most of it, and Merck were so far off the pace that it was like oh, here we go again. And then qualifying. Lewis, where he got it from to get on second place. How the hell did he do it from basically all the way behind? I mean, look where Bottas started. The disparity between them is so unlike Bottas. And Charles again, my hat's off to him. Starting on pole position, Max Verstappen on third, Sergio on sixth, so that was a little bit of a doozy. But still, that was not even the weirdest thing about qualifying. I mean, I lost count of the red flags in qualifying. 3? 4? More? I have literally no idea anymore. And as per usual, I'm doing this unscripted. I'm just going on my emotions. And I'm filming this a little bit quicker after the race than previous ones. And not to sponsor, but was watching the internet's best reactions from WTF1, one of my favorite YouTube channels, especially for Formula 1. And no, this is not sponsored, it is just, I wanted to say that. So yeah, back to that race. The start was really good. Sergio, the Spanish Bull for Red Bull, I wanted to make that pun, was just good, really good. But then the race kind of settled, except for Charles Leclerc getting passed by first Lewis Hamilton for the lead, then by Max Verstappen, and then by Sergio Perez. I have no idea where Charles ended, but he was overtaken by a few more cars, I'm sure. And then the race basically settled, kinda. It was like, okay, it is very, very tension when looking for how Checo and Hamilton were racing, because at that point it was really wondering how that all went down. Pit stops came around, and then Lewis had that very terrible pit stop. He had to wait for Vettel, I believe. Not sure. So forgive me if I got that wrong. Made a really long pit stop. Then Max Verstappen pitted, came out really far in front of Lewis. Then Checo pitted, got just in front of Lewis. So they both jumped him via pit stops. So I think, I don't know, was it Vettel? Yeah, it has to be. I don't know. Anyway, Vettel was out in the lead and getting back. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different race leaders in this race. Oh, wow. That's also really amazing. So at that point, the race really settled. Max Verstappen was leading really comfortably. Really comfortably. And yeah, Checo really comfortably enough on second place. it was a real fight to get to not get to stay in front of Lewis and stay out of the DRS. It was getting closer, getting further away, getting closer, getting further away, but he managed real well. And then the crazy started. Lance Stroll out of nothing on the straight, a puncture, right into the wall. Kind of terrible crash. As we have seen much worse this season. And I'm not even talking about last season. So, yes, this crash was terrible enough, but not that worrying. It was worrying at the moment because I think at that point nobody expected a crash anymore. Least of all, Lance Stroll. He was shouting for red flag because he was so blindsided by that crash. And then the safety car and that restart. Max Verstappen played it like a fiddle, played it like a master. Sergio was really slow for that restart. Lewis was so close on him, but just not close enough. It was like from, ooh. Yeah, and well, there were a few more interesting in the midfield. But then again, the racing really dulled down. Everybody had his place. The racing just happened. It was more like, okay, Checo is second, Max is first. Calculating how many points will be for all of them. Oh, cool. Checo will be third in the championship. And the rest, it will be basically the same. And then this disaster struck again. And I'm saying disaster not because it's basically the driver that I root for. But again, a puncture out of nowhere. Completely nowhere. No indication. And sorry, Pirelli, I will not believe it was debris. You can... No, unless you can actually pick out the debris, I will not believe it is. Pirelli, you messed up. I want to say a lot of different words there. You messed up with the tires. 33 rounds. And for Lance Stroll, it was 29 rounds. And a sudden puncture. Pirelli, really, you messed up. Max Verstappen, the race leader, I believe it's the same straight even, right into the wall because of a puncture. I cannot say this enough. Pirelli, you are to blame for that controversy. Unless you can literally show me a piece of debris without a doubt that caused a puncture, Pirelli, you are to blame. And I'm not saying this because Max Verstappen is the driver at the root for. If that puncture would have cost the championship, even the tension of the championship, more on that later. Sorry, that's just unforgivable by Pirelli. So yeah, Max Verstappen out, red flag. It was too dangerous to drive on at that point, so they had to red flag it. And then came the really interesting part. 3-ish rounds to go with a red flag. Would the race go on? Or would it be stopped right there with Checo Perez in first, Lewis in second, and I believe at that point Vettel in third. And Charles fourth. Would that have been the end? Luckily, no. Luckily for a few reasons, and this is not because I hate the guy, because I don't. Yes, I find him sometimes really annoying out of the track, but on the track he is the best or one of the best, and undoubtedly the most successful. For me, he is never the greatest of all time, but on track, Lewis Hamilton is one of the greatest, if not the greatest at this point, with only Max Verstappen coming close with package and car and everything. So him being second and Max out of the championship for this race would mean such a devastating blow that would have been not fun. If it would have been Max's own fault, I would say, tough luck, too bad, you gambled, you lost. But that was not the case. It was Pirelli's fault, and I keep on saying that. So yeah, if that red flag would have been the end, it would have been terrible. And now comes the, how you say it, aluminum hat, tinfoil hats, conspiracies. To those I say, grow up. Not just because of the results, but grow up. The race went on for a 3-round sprint race. I mean, that's got to be the shortest sprint race ever. And the conspiracy is so that Lewis Hamilton has more time, more chances to get more points. Sorry, Max was already out of the race. He would have gained a 10-point lead, and there will be more tracks where Mercedes will be better, so no. Throw that tinfoil hat out of the window. Just no. So, yes, we had a restart of the race. Obviously, they go to the grid, and that is their warm-up lap right away. And Checo, pole position, his first ever, basically pole position, sort of, but not really, for Red Bull. And he had a terrible start. Lewis Hamilton basically jumped him, not really jumped him, right off the start. Checo pushed him wide and then went back to the racing line, or his line basically. And then it happened. Lewis locked up. He could not take the corner, and Checo could take that corner perfectly. So Lewis was going off the runway, or runoff, sorry, and Checo back into the lead. Sebastian Vettel second. And at the end of the race, I don't know where it exactly happened, but Pierre Gasly third and Lewis Hamilton 16th. There's a video going around of how Toto Wolff reacted on Twitter as well. Please look it up. I feel sorry for Toto, but I don't feel sorry for Lewis. Lewis, you messed up. I don't know how you messed up, but I do know what you did. Sort of, I think. You flipped the switch, which fumbled the brake balance. You did it yourself. You messed up. But the great news of it is, both titleship contenders, 0 points. That means, at the end of this race, Max Verstappen with 104 points for the championship. Lewis, 99 points for the championship. No, 100. So 3 or 4 points in the lead is still Max Verstappen. And third place, Checo Perez with 69, nice, points. That means between the second, Lewis Hamilton, and third driver, Checo Perez, there are 71 points difference. And between the first and the second, only 3 or 4. I'm not completely sure how many points Max Verstappen. It could be that he has 1 or 5. Because of that lockup, the championship is still in full fight. I will not say full swing, because it is basically 2 drivers who are top of the field. I don't care what you think of Lewis Hamilton. I don't care what you think of Max Verstappen. Those 2 are top of the field. And that's why it's so weird to see Lewis make that kind of mistake. It cost him this race, and for the sake of the championship, I'm really happy he made that mistake. If Lewis Hamilton wins this championship with 1 point difference at the end of the race, at the end of the championship, I say, well done, Lewis. If he wins because such crazy bad luck of Max Verstappen, I say, not a good championship. So I'd rather have Max Verstappen lose by 1 point in a fair and square hard-fought championship than that Max Verstappen loses out because of bad luck that he had now. Equally so if Lewis Hamilton would have been the same bad luck, if you know what I mean. I mean, Lewis Hamilton had bad luck now, but he was his own device of bad luck. And also a really happy note. First place, Checo Perez. He deserved the race. He deserved it. Too bad for Max, but he deserved it. Second place for Sebastian Vettel. Who would have thought Sebastian Vettel back on the podium for Aston Martin? If he could manage a podium, what could have Lance Stroll? I mean, yes, Lance Stroll should not be better than Sebastian Vettel, and Sebastian Vettel is new in the team, but come on. Stroll might be a slouch, but he is not a bad driver. He is really, really good. Just a slow learner and keeps on making mistakes too often. So, with luck, he might ever, and the key is being, with luck, win 1 championship one day, but he will never be counted among the all greats. But he is definitely far from being worst from the grid. So, Sebastian Vettel, second place. And Pierre Gasly, in the end, third place in a shock podium. I can only say this is a shock podium. This race was really a race of, wow, what just happened? And Pirelli, this is where I'm going to end this video on. Pirelli, your tires, I don't care that they drop off. I don't care that they degrade. But if you say they can manage 40 rounds, make sure they can last at least 40 rounds, not 10 less. I am not gonna take any excuses that it was debris. Because if it would have been debris, it was the racing line. Many more drivers drive over that racing line. So basically, no, I don't believe you if you would say it's debris. I won't unless you can, without a doubt, show me the piece of debris inside the tire without have been putting it there. Yes or no, that's tinfoil. I had a comment. Pirelli, you messed up. So that was basically the conclusion of this review. I really enjoyed this race. It was a race of time tension and then craziness happening. Real craziness. This is a race that's memorable. It won't be an instant classic. It won't even be a classic, I think. But it has at least one classic moment for Lewis Hamilton making a humbling mistake, to play on his words. And the championship is still in full running. And that's, no matter who you're for, no matter what's your favorite team, if the championship is in full running, if it is no runaway, and it is still between two drivers of two different teams. And that's the most important thing. Two drivers, two different teams. I hope it comes down to the wire. If it comes down to the wire, I really don't care who wins. Even if it would be Russell or Sergio Perez taking the championship, as long as it comes to the wire. So yeah, I enjoyed this race. I hope you did too. To give this race a number, I have to say a 9. Yes, it had a lot of dull moments, but the exciting moments made up. So it's a 9. I won't say solid 9, but low 9 because of the dull moments. But yeah, a 9. Please leave down in the comments below what you thought of this race. And everybody stay safe, take care, and see you all next time. Bye bye.